Okay, today we're going to be learning about percentage increase and decrease. So let's think of this question. Seamus buys £600 of shares in a new company. 1 week later, the value of the shares has increased by 15%. Find the value of the shares 1 week after Seamus bought them. So this is a pretty standard question about increasing value by a certain percentage. So let's look how we would go about answering it. So we have 15% of £600. Now we need to put 15% into a decimal. So that's 0.15. Now the amount the shares have gone up by is 15% of £600. So we need to find out what is 15% of £600. So we just times the 600 by the 0.15, and that comes out at 90. So this is the 15%. So to find out the new value of the shares, we add £600 that they were originally plus the £90 that they've increased by. So we'd get £690. Now there is a quicker way of doing this kind of question, and that is by multiplying the value by a multiplying factor. So let's look at this question. Martin wins an internet auction. He pays £35 for his goods, but he has to add fees of 3% to this. Work out the total amount that Martin pays. So let's think about this one. So think about the 100% plus 3% gives us 103%. This is a decimal, is 1.03. Now because the amount that he's paying is going up, it's increasing the value. So it's 1.03, and this is the multiplying factor. So if we take the £35 times 1.03, that would give us £36.05. It's exactly the same principle as what we've done before. Instead of finding, so before we would have done 0.03, which is 3% of the decimal, and then we'd times that by the 35, and we'd get 1.05, and then we would add that to the £35, and we would get the 36.05. By doing it this way, we're cutting out those extra steps. The multiplying factor method can be used for a percentage decrease as well. So let's think of this next question. Jeremy pays £35,000 for a new car. 1 year later, it has lost 28% of its value. Find the value of the car 1 year later. This kind of question is what we would call a depreciation question. So let's think about this. So instead of, so think again for 100%, that's like the whole. 100% of the value of the car is the 35,000, but we're going to lose 28%, so we're going to minus 28%. That's how much of the whole value is being lost. So we're left with 72%. This time, the multiplying factor is 0.72. If you see, the multiplying factor is less than 1 because there is going to be a decrease. If it was greater than 1, there'd be an increase. If it's less than 1, there's a decrease. So value after a year, we're going to take the original value, which was 35,000, and we're going to multiply that with the 0.72, which equals 25,200. Now, one of the places that people are most likely to slip up on these types of questions is at this point. A lot of people will take the value of the car and they would multiply it by, instead of 0.72, they would multiply it by 0.28. The thing that we need to remember is the car decreases by this amount. That's what's lost. So we take the 100% is the whole, we take away the amount that's lost, and this is the amount of value of the car that's left. There's still 72% of the original value still in the car, and it's the value that's still in the car that we want to calculate. That's why we use the 0.72 as our multiplying factor. I hope that makes sense. Goodbye.